Hi, this is Renee. This is a warm-up flow to get you into Urdhva Dhanurasana, full wheel pose. So let's begin in child's pose. Just with your big toes touching, knees open wide. Reach your arms out in front of you and feel a stretch in both directions. Take a full breath in and full breath out. Find your Ujjayi breath in through your nose, out through your nose. Engage your elbows off your mat and walk your fingertips forward. Really find a nice side stretch here. Take a breath in. Walk your hands over to the right side. Take your chest with you. Sit your left hip back as you pull your left hand forward and over. Take a nice breath and stay for the exhale. Walk your hands over to the left side. Sink back in your right hip and glute as you stretch with your right fingertips walking all the way over to the left. Feel a nice side stretch, full breath in, and stay for the exhale. Walk your hands back to center. And make your way to tabletop. Slide your knees under your hips, wrists under your shoulders. Inhale, gaze up, tailbone lifts. Tuck your toes under and flatten out the tops of your toes. Exhale, round and curl, chin to your chest. Tuck your toes under. Inhale, gaze up, tailbone lifts. Exhale, flatten out the tops of your toes, round and curl it out. Tuck your toes under. Inhale. And flatten them out. Exhale. Couple more cat and cows. Let your breath move you through the pose. And one more together. Longest breath yet. Come back to a neutral spine. Walk your hands forward for puppy pose. Let your forehead draw down to your mat. Leave your hips high and walk your fingertips forward. Feel a stretch in your shoulders and your armpits. Maybe your chin or even your chest comes down. And walk your hands back under, shoulders start to lift up. Tuck your toes under, shift it up and back, downward facing dog. You can pedal out your feet. Spread your fingers out wide as you press away from your mat. Feel your inner arches of your hands press down. First finger and your thumb press down. Then send your hip creases up and back as you wrap your ribs in. Take a breath in as you rise to the balls of your feet. And send your heels down. Inhale, rise. And exhale, press them down. Bend in your knees and walk your hands towards your feet for ragdoll. Grab opposite elbows. Soften in your knees and sway side to side. You can shake out your head yes and no. And walk your hands back out to a high plank pose. Squeeze your core. Shoulders in line with your wrists. Spread your fingers out wide. Lift your hips gently higher. Shine your heart forward. Crown of your head forward. Take a breath in. And breath out. 2 more. Inhale. And exhale. On the next inhale, rock forward. Slowly lower down, elbows close by your sides, all the way to your mat. Inhale, cobra, press the tops of your toes down, lift your chest. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift. Cobra, shoulders relax. Exhale, release. Slide your hands to your lower ribs, elbows squeeze in. Inhale, lift your chest. Hold here. Full breath in. Full breath out. Press your pinky toes down into your mat. Take another breath in. Lower your forehead down to your mat. Tuck your toes under and shift it up and back, downward facing dog. Couple breaths here in your down dog. Inhale your right leg up and back, open out your hip, bend your knee. You can circle out your ankle. Then straighten your right leg, square off your hips. Take a breath in. And exhale, knee to your nose. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, knee to your nose. Step it through. Drop your back knee down, low lunge. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, press your hips forward. Grab a hold of your left wrist with your right hand. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale over to the right side. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, plant your hands down and shift your hips back. Glide your right heel forward. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, heart draws to your knee. Plant the sole of your right foot down to your mat. Tuck your back toe under. Lift off your back leg. Inhale, reach your arms up. Crescent lunge. Drive your tailbone down. Feel a stretch in your hip flexor. Pull your right hip crease back, squaring off your hips. Take a breath in as you lift up. Maybe your palms touch. And exhale, plant your hands. And step to a forward fold. Toes together, feet together. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Utkatasana, chair pose. Bend into your heels, reach your arms up. Hug your outer hips in. Press your armpits down and forward. Wrap your ribs in, sink your tailbone low. See if you can wiggle your toes, see your toes. And bring your hands to your heart center and twist. Left elbow crosses your right knee. Press your right palm into your left as you find that big twist to your spine. Sink your hips lower than your heart. Couple more breaths. Squeeze your navel over to the left and your chest opens to the right. And take a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Roll to the tops of your toes, lift your chest. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg up and back. Open out your hip, bend your knees, circle your ankle. Straighten your left leg, square off your hips, breath in. Exhale, knee to your nose. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, knee to your nose, step it through, low lunge, Anjane Asana. Drop your back knee, reach your arms up. Take a couple of breaths. Lift out of your sideways. And grab a hold of your right wrist with your left hand. Inhale and exhale over to the left side. Inhale, reach your arms up. Gaze up. Exhale, plant your hands and shift your hips back. Glide your left heel forward. Flex your left toes. Take a breath in. Exhale, release. Breath in, lengthen. Exhale, heart to your knee. Plant the sole of your left foot down to your mat. Tuck your back toe under. Lift off your back knee. Reach your arms up. Crescent lunge. Drive your tailbone down. Wrap your ribs in. Lift your heart. Find length in your back leg. And drive your left heel into your mat. Take a breath in. And breath out. Spin your pinkies forward and your thumbs out. Shoulder blades down. Armpits forward and down. Take a breath in as you press your palms together. Gaze up. Exhale, plant your hands. Forward fold. Bend off your back knee. Forward fold. Feet together. Knees and heels together. Bend your knees. Utkatasana, chair pose. Inhale. Sink it low. Hands to your heart center. And twist. Right elbow crosses your left knee. Press your left palm into your right. Find that big twist of your spine. Now imagine your navel twists over to the right, chest opens to the left. Maybe your thumbs come to your heart center. 2 more breaths. On your exhale, forward fold. Heel toe your feet to hip width distance. 2 fists in between your big toes to measure. Grab a hold of your peace fingers with your big toes. Grab a hold of your big toes with your peace fingers. Elbows out to the sides. And pull. Tailbone lifts up. Shoulder caps away from your ears. Take a breath in to lengthen halfway, lift. Exhale, pull. And bend in your knees. Remove your grip. Hands to your hips, flat back up. Slide your left foot back. Toes in, heels out. Interlace your hands behind your back. Rotate your shoulders back. Inhale. Exhale, wide-legged forward fold. Prasarita. You may use a towel or a strap here to allow for some space if your hands are having trouble touching. And start to shift your tailbone up and back. And you can remove your hands underneath your shoulders. Shift your hips in line with your heels. So shifting your pelvis slightly forward, walk your hands forward, create a flat back. Take another breath in and breath out. Hands to your hips, flat back up, inhale. Exhale, warrior 2. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, straighten your right leg, right toes in, left toes out. Bend, warrior 2. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, straighten, left toes in. Inhale, lengthen, lift your arms up. Exhale, wide-legged forward fold. Shift your right toes out and sink down into this little surfer lunge. Pull your right knee open. And then shift it over to the other side. And find your wide-legged forward fold. Hands back to your hips, flat back up. And just wiggle your feet back together. Roll your shoulders back as you come back to the front of your mat. Inhale, your arms up. Exhale, flat back, swan dive. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, chaturanga. You can step it or float it back. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, down dog. Take a breath in. And breath out, lower your heels or your knees down to your mat. Shift forward, slowly take it all the way down. Reach your arms out into a T. Inhale, lift your chest. Lift your legs. Knees off of your mat, point your toes. Slightly tuck your chin in to elongate your spine. Inhale, lift. And exhale. Again, inhale, lift. And exhale, right ear to your mat. Bend your knees, windshield wiper. Your feet side to side. And grab a hold of your feet. You can use your strap here to hold on to, or even your towel. Then press your feet into your hands as you lift your chest. Breathe from the back side of your body. Slightly squeeze your knees in. Roll your shoulders and chest open. Take another full breath in. And exhale. Plant your hands under your shoulders and shift it back. And just bring your knees together and sink down onto your heels. Palms onto your thighs. Take a breath in. And breath out. Again, nice breath in. And breath out. Lift up to your knees. Slide your knees a little further than hip width distance. Slide your hands on your lower back. Press your hips forward. Open your heart. And let your head fall back, camel pose. Elbows in. Press your hips forward. And if you start to go pretty far back, you can grab a hold of your heels. And continue to press your hips in line with your knees. And bring your hands to your lower back. Slowly come up. And sink down into your heels. Bring your knees wide. Press your hands back behind you. Lift your hips up and slide them in between your heels. You might want to create more space behind you. Then start to bring your elbows and forearms down to your mat if that feels okay. Or you're welcome to stay uplifted with your hands onto your mat as well. If you can lie all the way back down, you can head there. Take another breath in. And breath out. One more because it feels good. And out. Use your hands, your forearms, elbows. Come all the way up and just walk your hands forward back to your child's pose. Let your elbows relax down, your forehead down. Rub your third eye side to side. And slowly lift your chest. Squeeze your knees together. Roll to one side. Take your legs out in front of you. Inhale, lengthen, lift your chest. Exhale, forward fold. Grab the outside edges of your feet. You can use your towel here for a little more space. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, heart leads to your knee. Flatten out your back. Take a breath in. And breath out. Lift up in your chest. Slide your hands behind you. Plant the soles of your feet down to your mat. And lift up. Reverse your tabletop. You can stay lifted and gaze up towards the ceiling or drop your head back behind you. And slowly lower your hips down. Windshield wiper your knees side to side. All right, we are ready and warmed up for a full bridge and then a wheel. I do like to use blocks. If you do have a block, they come in really handy. So you can place the block at any height underneath your breastbone. So right under your shoulder blades, above your lower back. You can use another block underneath your head here, or let your head dangle down and reach your arms behind you. You feel a nice openness in your front ribs. Allow for some mobility in your shoulders and in your armpits. And you can stay here for quite a while. Just breathing through it. You can also have your arms by your side. And you can take the block down to any height that feels right for you. And slowly start to lift yourself up. Remove the block. And come all the way down to your mat. Slide your heels in close to your fingertips. And you want your ankles in line with your knees. Just simply, gently press your navel down to the mat. Then bring your hands and place them fingertips towards your shoulders. Your elbows draw in towards your midline. A lot of times your elbows want to splay out. So make sure you're concentrating on pulling your elbows in. And it's an external rotation of your hands. So you want to feel your shoulders rotate in and your fingertips towards your shoulders. Okay, walk your heels in a little closer. Then press up onto the crown of your head. Once you're on the crown of your head, walk your hands in just slightly and lift and press. Press it all the way up. And gently tuck your chin into your chest and come down. Another option is to take bridge pose. Bring your fingertips back towards your heels. Then press your hips up. And stay right here. You can feel your hamstrings engaging. Lift your hips. And roll your shoulders underneath you without taking them away from your ears. So you want to think roll under and then clasp your fingers, interlace your fingers, then roll them under even more. Then you can start to lift your hips higher. Engage your lower glutes and imagine that you have a block in between your inner thighs. And take a breath in and release your hands. Use your palms onto your mat and slowly and gently relax your hips down. Back to full wheel. Plant your hands behind you, fingertips towards your shoulders. Peel your elbows in towards your midline. Walk your heels a little closer. Use your hands, come to the crown of your head. Once you're here, walk your hands in just slightly. Press up, press out. Let your head dangle. And slowly bring it down. And avoid bringing your knees in and giving yourself a hug immediately, just because we've done so much opening in our back. It's just a gentle relaxation. You can slightly dip your navel down to your mat and take a couple of breaths. You might windshield wiper your knees and then bring your knees back into your chest for that hug. Rotate your knees around. Warm up the lower back even more and come into happy baby. You can sway side to side. Then draw your knees into your chest and open your arms out into a T. Let your knees fall to the left as you gaze to the right. Bring your knees back into the center. Allow your knees to fall to the right as you gaze to the left. Draw your knees back in and give yourself one final hug. Hug of self-love and gratitude for showing up on your mat. Then release into your final resting pose for Shavasana. Roll your shoulders under and slightly tuck your chin in towards your chest. And let go. And begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. You can rock your neck side to side. Just bring your awareness and breath back to your body. Reach your arms up over your head and stretch in both directions. And slide your knees in and roll over to your favorite side. Use your top hand to slowly press you up to a seated position. And bring your hands to your heart center and bow to your inner light. Namaste.